We've been talking about what this Bitcoin halving means. How do you think this cycle differs from previous ones that we've seen in the past?
There are a couple of combinations. There are a couple of big factors, actually. There's really sort of setting this halving apart from the rest. Aside from just the whole industry itself maturing, every 4 years we see incredible building and innovation that continues to sort of accelerate, regardless of whether media attention is on the price of the coins themselves. The building continues unabated. But the real sort of differentiator, I would say, in this halving is the entry or the access for institutional investors to come in a meaningful way. And the way that they're able to do that is through the new spot Bitcoin ETFs that we saw launched in the US in January. Now there's an easy, compliant way to get exposure to the asset class. They don't need to be concerned about the operational risks of how to custody these Bitcoin. And so it can become a long-term play for institutional asset managers, but it can also become a trading tool for prop traders, for hedge funds. And really, it's just deepening interest in the market and maturing effectively the whole Bitcoin ecosystem. So, and also, of course, the ETFs are going to enable retail to have easy access. Mm-hmm. So this new entry point for these key players, I think, is quite an incredible moment. And we've seen the demand in just the first few months of launch. We're into the billions now of flows. And in the words of Larry Fink himself, it's the fastest growing ETF in history.
And so do you think this halving, I mean, is that's what's been driving the Bitcoin price, or is it more the ETF story? I'm just wondering, does this halving have, prompt more gains to really lift Bitcoin a bit higher, or do you think a lot of this has been priced in already?
So the halving is an anticipated event. It's programmed into the software. We know that from day one. It's a feature of Bitcoin and the way that the network works, the way that it controls inflation. And so it's priced in to the extent that we've seen the patterns. But what's different on the pricing front with this halving is actually we've seen Bitcoin reach all-time highs before the halving, and that's somewhat unusual. Bearing in mind we've only had 3 halvings and we've got 64 more halvings to go. So, as we go along, we're going to be able to see more patterns. We're still very early innings here in terms of sort of looking too much in the past price movement action. But also, we've seen it reach all-time highs. But again, Bitcoin softening price-wise as we're coming into the halving. So, nothing too out of step with what we've seen in previous cycles.